We back to the trenches. They back in my business. I'm back to the business. Gervonta Davis buys his old block in Baltimore. West Baltimore to be exact. Bravo. That's just what I'm going to talk about in this video. Let's talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you come in, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest, best in the business. Gervonta Davis did it. He makes history. Gervonta Davis, he went back to the trenches and purchased property, his old block in West Baltimore, with the plan of enhancing, renovating, and overall bringing back to the community affordable housing. Y'all knew I was going to make a video about this. I touched on this on my live stream. Make sure you guys subscribe for all the boxing news and content. So this is just great stuff from Gervonta Davis. Goes back home, the place where it all started. I mean, this should be everybody's dream, if I'm being real, if I'm being honest with you. Reason being, who wouldn't want to go back to where your whole journey began? Because like I believe a lot in your environment. I believe your environment helps to form and helps to shape you and what you would later become. Also your experiences. And without these experiences plus environment, I mean, you could be someone completely different. Imagine if Gervonta Davis grew up in Utah. I mean, he might not have the same mean streak that he has in the ring, right? So to go back to your origins, a lot of people, they get a bag and they almost become big-headed. Some guys become a celebrity. They get that money, they get that bag, that newfound celebrity. They totally forget classmates, people they went to middle school and high school with, old family and friends, you know, the environment they came up, because they're living a completely different life. Like, let's say a guy became an NFL football player. You might not remember the inner city and the rough dwellings that you grew up. Some people run away from that, and some people stay in that. So you got guys like Nipsey Hussle, humanitarian work, and also now Gervonta Davis. He has GTD promotions in boxing, and now he's working on construction, and after his fight with Ryan Garcia, giving back to the community that raised him. I mean, you can't say enough about it. In addition to GTD promotions in boxing, he's taken it a step further with GTD Development. And you see the logo, very similar to his boxing logo, GTD Promotions. And that's the development company. He's partnered with a construction company or whatever to begin the renovation. You know, the spot where he grew up, some of the buildings are dilapidated. Some of the buildings look to be abandoned. So they got some work cut out for them. And this is a huge step in terms of Gervonta Davis and the next chapter of his career. So I'm very happy. And I've known Gervonta Davis for a while, and to see the maturation of where he started to, because I remember before the Jose Pedraza fight, a lot of people didn't even know who he was. You know, Mayweather was backing him and Leonard Ellerbe and stuff, but a lot of people, they didn't really know much about Gervonta Davis. He was almost like an urban legend. So he had that buzz about him, but people ultimately didn't know what he was about. But I think right now they know. You look at Gervonta Davis, there's no one outside of Canelo Alvarez in boxing that's an active fighter that's doing bigger live gates, and even some of Tank's live gates and some of his fights have been bigger than Canelo fights. The year of the pandemic, 2020, he had a higher attendance and I believe a live gate than Canelo versus Caleb Smith. And that was Gervonta Davis's first pay-per-view with Leo Santa Cruz. Him and Errol Spence both had bigger live gates than Canelo did when he first left Golden Boy and did that Caleb Smith fight, right, in the pandemic. So there was some social distancing. So you imagine the numbers for the Leo Santa Cruz fight, which was a good fight, and then a brutal knockout on behalf of Gervonta Davis serving up that knockout. Imagine if that wasn't during social distancing, during the pandemic. Who knows what the numbers would have been. So all in all, I love these stories. And the disrespectful thing in my sport of boxing is this. If Gervonta Davis gets in some kind of domestic issue, he gets in some kind of fracas, he gets in some kind of argument with his girl, this type of news seems to circulate increasingly fast. Like, I mean, I remember the day GTD, when he had that 911 call and a mugshot was released that same day. That whole day blew up. It's like it broke the internet. People getting to see a black fighter mugshot in some drama. Negative news. That negative news cycle completely had the game, at its mercy. But then this is the crazy part about it. Like I say, everybody says they're fair until it's time to be fair. People say they're objective until it's time to be objective, right? So it's funny that when it's negative news with Gervonta Davis or other black athletes and black fighters, people are very quick to react to it. People are very quick to put their opinions out about it. And I called this out in my live stream, which is why you guys got to subscribe to my channel for that. But I said it in the live stream. I don't count anything after that live stream because I said it then. Anybody could watch it. It's free public domain and content. Anybody could watch the video and then react and like, oh, hey, let me do it now. But before that, I was seemingly one of the only people even talking about this Gervonta Davis huge news and him giving back outside of Ellie Sekbeck. I did see him. He had posted about it as well. But as far as boxing, it seems fashionable to hate on Gervonta Davis, the growing hate for Gervonta Davis. And he's now entered that Floyd Mayweather zone. And I'm not saying he fights like Floyd. I'm not saying that they see eye to eye all the time. I'm not saying they have the same career or resume. But in terms of the hate, we're talking about hate. We're talking about senseless hate where it's clickbait and his name is highly used from other fighters. Everybody is mentioning, hey, me fighting Tank is a big fight. It's the biggest fight. These types of things that we're frequently seeing. You have YouTubers and Facebook pages and groups. They claim to not like Tank Davis, but they can't stop speaking his name, right? And it's ironic because, again, when it's negative news about said black fighter, Gervonta Davis, the news comes out from everybody promptly. And for me, I don't have no, there's no slacking in my macking. I have no shame. Me as a reporter, I give you the news, whether you like it, whether you like my opinion, whether you don't, it don't really matter to me. I cover all the stories with a level of impartiality and fair. Like when Jermell Charlo just had his situation with his girl, literally one of the first, if not the first, to break down that story. However, on my platform, I do give you guys both sides of the coin. Jermell Charlo, if he comes out with, his side, I'll let you know. If Tank misses weight, that's another thing. Tank missed weight on the Mayweather-McGregor undercard. And later in the Gamboa fight, he missed the first weigh-in, had to come back and weigh in. These stories get glorified, amped up, souped up, gaslit, right? Tank missed weight. I remember when Tank's face looked kind of puffy in his offseason. Tank's not disciplined. Tank's not managed his weight. I just did an Ego Weight Watchers video yesterday, and Tank's weight looks down. You know, he fought twice. So people, everything they say is a problem. When the problem is fixed, they don't tell you about it. But when it's a problem, they're sure to point out the problem. Oh, Tank, his weight, he looks fat and his face is puffy. He's not disciplined. He's not a disciplined fighter. He's going to be the next Adrian Broner. These are the words of the haters. But then when he's managing his weight, making all of his weight, then they just move on to something else. Oh, he got in an argument with his girl. But again, people are slow to react and they drag their feet when it comes to news of something positive regarding Gervonta Davis. And I find that pretty ironic. And it's really sad. And the crazy thing is, you get better coverage outside of my platform. You get better coverage from people who really aren't even in boxing, right? They're just more entertainment all around, you know, blog style. Like, shout out to Say Cheese. Look at Say Cheese. They're not necessarily dedicated to boxing, but they cover a little bit of everything. Arts, music, movies. And look, they're talking about it. Gervonta Davis came back to Baltimore and bought his whole block to rebuild for affordable living. So the blogs, they're at least smart enough to know that Gervonta Davis is the A side and this is a hot story. But you have people who are so biased in boxing that they messing up their views by not giving credit where credit is due and somebody like a good story. People love good stories. People love positive pieces. They don't want to just hear, oh, this fight got canceled and bad judging and premature stoppages in boxing. Look, they got 2.9 on Twitter, 2.9 million views, and this news just came out yesterday afternoon. So shout out to the blogs outside of boxing that have common sense to know that Gervonta's the A side, right? Look, they posted it right here too on their gram. So let's see what the numbers did. That's what I'm saying. Gervonta Davis, look, 75,000 plus people liked it on their gram. So between Instagram and X, they're rolling in the dough. Non-boxing. So you got non-boxing that are talking about it, but then the people in boxing are so biased and have so much disdain for Tank Davis, they're not mentioning it. World Star with 47.5 million followers. Did they post it? Absolutely. They posted Gervonta Davis. So everything I've said to this point is making a whole lot of sense. So shout out to World Star for posting it as well. We need to do a better job in the world, in the game, in the world in general, but definitely in the game of boxing, of not just pushing smear campaigns like Gervonta Davis, he's ducking. He's afraid of Devin Haney. You know, he needs to fight Shakur. He's giving back to his community. And again, now people don't want to talk about it. Now they don't want to mention his name when it's something positive. Like I always say, people whisper your successes, but they will broadcast your failures. Anytime Gervonta Davis acts up and there's a video or a hit and run or arrest, or he's beefing with the judge and he puts out a tweet, everybody wants to talk about it. In boxing, when he does something good, which is respectable, and I see a bunch of fake street dudes who are like, they spend all their time hating on Gervonta Davis. Oh, he need to fight Devin Haney. He's ducking. Oh, his resume, he ducked Lomachenko, yada, yada, yada. Now the fake street dudes, they have no choice but to bow down and admit like, hey, you a real one. He really came from the trenches, really went back and is really doing something positive. As far as I'm concerned, this also furthers the gap between Gervonta Davis and anybody else in or around his division in terms of A side. I don't know how much a block cost to buy properties in your own block that has abandoned buildings and things like that and completely refurnish them, and create affordable housing, but this was a smart investment. One of the early mentors in Gervonta's career, Floyd Mayweather, that's all he talks about. I made a lot of smart investments. Al Heyman, I got a hell of a team. And it's apparent that Gervonta Davis has one of the best teams in boxing. This is monumental. When you could, like, I think it was Muhammad Ali who said something to the effect of, like, your rent on earth is the service that you give to others. Like, basically giving back. You know, these teachable moments and giving back to your community. That's the ticket. If you can bridge that gap, live pretty righteous, you know, people sin, I get it. But if you can overall balance it with random acts of kindness and paying it forward, that's definitely the ticket. So I'm so happy for Gervonta Davis. He's shutting the haters up. He's doing his thing. You know, it's ironic that people don't want to cover this story, but leave it to your boy Ego. I cover everything. I'm not ducking or dodging no type of topics in the sport of boxing, including the good ones. You know, everybody wants to talk about this fight and that fight. And that's the thing. Like, let's say the Devin Haney situation, right? The Devin Haney situation, he looked great, you know? But if Devin Haney did this, I guarantee you there'd be a million videos on YouTube about Devin Haney's a beast. He went back to Oakland. He went to the Bay Area and, you know, opened up a coffee shop or bought his block or whatever, your renovation, you know. But then where's the love across the board? If Shakur Stevenson did this, I would make a video about it. If he went back to Newark and he had the funds. And again, this creates separation because he clearly made a lot of right moves and a lot of money in the Ryan Garcia fight because he just did this out of nowhere. You know, he obviously got his ducks in a row and it's something that's been on his heart. And now he pulled the trigger and got it done. And that Ryan Garcia fight was colossal. Did over 1 million pay-per-views. So he's able to give back. The more successful you are, the more you're able to give back. And that's exactly what Gervonta Davis is doing. So he clearly has a big heart and I'm overall happy for him. I did have to talk about the haters because the haters are motivators. This should be motivation, what Gervonta did, but you know, it's just sad to see people like even the situation with Devin Haney. No problems. He did his thing. Regis Prograis fight. He looked well. He looked very sharp. Became a champion, etc. People are like, oh, he's ducking and this and that. But at the same time, look at the power moves he's doing behind the scenes. You think he's worried? If you're giving back to your community in such a way, are you really worried about a fighter calling you out when you're doing press conferences after buying the block in which you grew up in West Baltimore? That's what I'm saying. Like, people don't put this into perspective. There's things that are bigger than boxing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. YouTube will now show you other videos that I've produced to get caught up to speed for all your boxing needs. And hopefully we can create change. I'm gonna always use my platform for what's right in the world of boxing. And I celebrate the hell out of this move. This was big business from Gervonta Davis. This is real grown man stuff. And I love it.